Hey everybody, let's feed my notebook obsession. Happy Friday, happy December 26th, so whatever yesterday was for you, I hope you had a good day. Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts, and I am excited to be with you. I am streaming to both my Facebook VIP group and to YouTube, so hold please while I make sure. Nope, YouTube's good. All right, we're all set. Actually got some stuff set up before I hit the live button this time. Crazy as that may seem. So super excited. As some of you all know, I have a mild notebook obsession. There are multiple videos on my YouTube channel of me crafting with different kinds of notebooks. Most recently added to the mix are these little mini ones. And then because Chalk Couture just somehow intuited what I needed, our January Club kit is a new spiral notebook, a little bit smaller. Here is the original one that Chalk came out with. I think this was last year in the Creative Kickstart. So this is the original one. This is my vision journal that I turned it into. This is the new one. So it's about the same height, not quite as wide, and can go either vertical or horizontal, which I think is super fun. And I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera angle so you all can see my desk, if that's what we're going to be talking about here. And let's see. Am I not live in the group? I'm supposed to be live in the group. Facebook says, I'm not live in the group. I'm live on YouTube, not live in the group. Let me do that. This is what happens when I try to do two things at the same time. Sorry to my group folks. I've been live for a few minutes. Oh, goodness. Okay, there we go. I am live in all the places I'm supposed to be now. Or at least it says I am. Come on, catch up. There we go. Now I got it. Of course, I have volume. Okay, there we go. Okay, all good. All set to go. All right, so here is the transfer that goes along with this notebook. And I love this because, one, it's a value transfer. And you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different little design elements in this one B-size transfer, which is super fun. But also the thing I'm intrigued about and what I am hoping that this is an indicator of is this has like junk journal vibe written all over it. And so I am hopeful that this is more to come in this. This is kind of a sign of more to come. So we're going to get started, and we're actually going to do the cover, and we're also going to do some pages because I want to test out a couple of things. Let me grab my transfer scissors, cut this open. How is everybody today? If you're watching me live, let me know how you're doing. If you celebrated Christmas yesterday, let me know how your day was. If you have celebrations yet to come, let me know that too. And if yesterday might not have been a holiday or a celebration for you, but if that is the case, I hope you had a good day, no matter what you did or how you spent it. Super low key for us, which is kind of how I like it. Lots of chaos and crazy on the holidays when I was little, which I loved. But I, as a grown up, I kind of like the kind of like just not doing a whole lot. Okay, so we're going to do, trying to decide if I want it to go this way. Oh, that's the back. Or this way. Let's go this way. And I want to do multiple designs on this cover. So there's no official cut line in between these two, but I'm going to cut it apart in this green space just ever so carefully so that I don't have to worry about it when I use one or the other. Get my cutting cloth here. Take some of the sticky off the back of this transfer, especially because the covers of this of these notebooks are kind of a coated material, but sometimes the transfers can then stick to them. Do I want to go off? No, we're just gonna go all the way to the edge here. Push that down really well. Okay, so now I'm rethinking my color planes because that's what happens. I'm going to grab some green. Let's see. Where's my pastel? Ooh, that's my baby. All right. So we're going to do a little paste and peel to get some color on here. No, you know what? We're just going to do this. We're going to keep it simple. Keep it simple. So the kit, so for anybody watching who is unfamiliar, Club Couture is a monthly, think of it as a monthly subscription box kind of program. And every month you get everything you need to make a project. So you'll get your surface, you'll get your transfer, you'll get paste packs or ink packs depending on what the surface is. So if it's a textile, you'll get your ink. If it's your first one, you'll get a squeegee. And then you can always order more squeegees or just hit your designer up. I'm always good for a squeegee or two for my people. And then these are reusable transfers, so you can use them over and over again on different kinds of projects, and on different surfaces, because you can pretty much use these on anything. There's actually kind of a series on the Chalk Couture. I don't know if it's the public facing page or design studio, called Will It Chalk. And it's a designer from Chalk Central and her husband. And every couple of weeks they come out with something experimenting on different kinds of surfaces, including her husband's bald head. But you can use this product on wood, glass, plastic, acrylic, all textiles, including uncoated leather. I don't think we have found anything which can't chalk on, which makes it really nice. You can use it on paper to make cards, all kinds of things. So in this kit for this month, you got a pack of, because this is January, so nobody's gotten this yet. Designers can opt in early, which is why I have this. But you'll have a packet of Colonial Blue, which is this color that I'm using right here, and Cadet, which is a darker blue. Kept with that color scheme. Pull this off nice and slow. A little tricky because as you lift the transfer up, that notebook cover is going to want to lift up with you. So I don't know if you can really tell, I'm trying to hold it down with my pinkies as I work this transfer off of here. I'm rocking it back and forth because it's sticking really well. I could have fuzzed it a couple more times, that would have helped. And once I've used this a few more times, it'll be a little bit better. So almost done. There we go. The reveal is the best part. That's a little flower. I got a little bit right there that I'm really not going to worry about, but if that bothers you, once it's dry, you could take like a wet Q-tip, a damp Q-tip, or the edge of a paper towel and just run it along there and get that off. Set that off to the side. Normally I have a little tub of water that I put those in. I didn't have that today, so I just put it back on the backer sheet and I'll just sit it off to the side and I will go clean it later. You just clean these with water. I use our board erasers, which are sort of like a magic eraser. Clean them up real good, put it back on your backer sheet, and you are good to go for the next time. And because I want to layer some designs on this cover, we're going to dry this real quick. So, talk amongst yourselves while I use the drying tool. If you angle this into the light a certain way, you can tell when it's dry because it becomes matte. It does dry pretty quick. Real careful. I think that's still a little tacky, but there's quite a bit more paste right there. Okay, so I want to layer some other pieces onto this, like this postage stamp and writing looking piece. Let me do that piece. So what we're going to do here, get my supplies out of my way, is I'm going to fuzz this again, this piece of the transfer, which y'all can't see because I'm off camera. So let's get it together here. So we're going to fuzz this. And I'm going to do this more than I did the last one because now we're going to layer it on top of not only, that it's not going to sit only on the notebook, it's going to sit on the paste that we just put down. And I don't want it to pull that up. We're also going to add a little bit of surface wax on top of that. So let's sit for a second with this. So this is the Chalk Couture surface wax. This is designed to be used to prevent lifting up of paint or paste, or to keep your paste from pulling up when you pull out your transfer. It is really good on really rough wood surfaces is when I tend to use it the most. Or like this, when I am pasting on top of paste or paint that I have not let cure for 24 hours, which I'm terrible at, and I tell people all the time, if you paint the surface, hey Laura Lee, how are you? If you paint a surface and you want to chalk on top of it, the absolute best way to make sure that you're not going to pull up any of that paint with your transfer is to let it sit for 24 hours. I am terrible at that. I'm terrible at that. A lot of it is because I am oftentimes crafting live, and sometimes I don't think about, oh wait, I should do this part ahead of time. And so, it's the morning of maybe when I'm like, ooh, I should go ahead and paint this, but not the day before. So we're just going to add this, and I'm using ash, which is our darkest gray paste. I want it to stand out, but I also want it to be kind of subtle. So I don't want, a bright color, but I don't want it to be blue either, even though we have multiple shades of blue. So it gets a nice kind of layered look there. So I got that little postage stamp and your little postmark. Let's see, handwriting there. And what I'm going to do is add some handwriting down here. So I'll do that. Fuzz this really well. Now I may not, just see, try to see where I want to put this. Decide whether I want to use any of the surface wax. see how much that's going to overlap. But if I want to fit all of that text onto the notebook cover, which I think is what I want to do, then we're going to use a little bit of this again. On there really gently. Technically, you're supposed to let it sit and buff it off. I'm not using very much, so I'm not really going to worry about that. But if you use too much wax and you don't buff it off, you run the risk of the wax getting into the negative space on your transfer and kind of gunking your transfer up, and it is hard to get off if that happens. So I've kind of learned to just use a little bit. Now, if I'm working with if I use wax, it's typically in this kind of situation or with like a really rough piece of wood where I feel like I worry that if I'm not going to get a smooth finish. And so that I will let it sit and buff off, because oftentimes I'll have to use quite a bit of wax to get it smoothed out the way I want it. There's that. The other thing that you could do with this before you even added any of these elements is if you have a background transfer, polka dots, plaid, even a background that's just small florals, you could do the whole cover, kind of like I did on this one. I did the whole cover in this background and then layered my other transfer on top and did that. So you could do that here too, so that you would basically have almost no true white space on the cover, and then add your elements on top, which gives it kind of that true junk journal vibes too, because you have all that layering. You could actually also decoupage this cover. Now you would need to trim out right up to here, and you would need to make sure you fold over on your edges. Or you could burn off any excess and give it that kind of burnt look, and it would not have any paper at that point hanging off the edges. But you could decoupage this, and then if you did that, you would absolutely want to make sure you put your decoupage medium on top of it, let that dry, and then I would recommend just a little bit of surface wax on top of that too, because you don't want to tear any of that decoupage paper. Use this one here, this little bitty flower. I think we are going to bring in a pop of color with this. And the club we need to do a little bit more. The club projects vary. They're always really fun. I mean, just like with everything, there are always ones that just aren't my style in particular. Although I do usually end up getting them so that I can, create with them and share them so people can see, that it's out there and what your options are. Because because it's not my thing doesn't mean it's not somebody else's. So I want people to see what we've got. Last month it was, I should have them handy. Yep. But I don't know where I put the transfer. Even though I know I just have it because I saw it earlier. But last month it was a full set of holiday minis, which is the B-size transfer. It's always a B-size transfer, but with little 3x3 design and a pair of white socks. So I used a little igloo for that. And now it's got me thinking about socks, which I don't know that I ever would have thought about. Even though I see people do them and I think they're cute, I don't know that I ever would have thought to do that. But now I'm thinking, oh, let's find some red and pink ones. These little Valentine's Day socks would be really cute, even just for gifts, even just for cute little gifts for my nieces and that sort of thing. That's the nice thing too. A lot of these club projects, they're giftable. And so if you like to do a lot of handmade gifts, you've got a lot of options with these club projects. So it ships every month. The new club project is officially released on the 1st. Anybody who signs up before the end of December will get the December club kit, so you'll get that transfer and then the socks. And then your January kit would be automatically shipped. The new kit will be available on January 1st, so if you sign up in January, you'll get that one. And it is, I think it's $25.99 a month. But if you are a Perks member, you get 30% off of that, which makes it 17 something, and then designers get 40% off, so it makes it 16 something for us. Okay, so that's our cover. I like that. I like that little pop of color. I wasn't sure I would like that. But I think that's just a nice little accent. I'm going to dry this real quick. Just enough to be able to open it without messing anything up here. Let's try because I want to try chalking on the pages. If you have been curious about junk journaling or art journaling, camera's crooked. There we go. One of the first things I thought when I saw this kit was this is a good entry point for that, because you've got the notebook, you've got some transfer designs that kind of speak to that vintagey junk journal vibe. And so it's a way to play around, and then you can bring in things you already have. And then kind of start to experiment. Now, this is an area where we are going to use the surface wax. This is 100% an experiment. I have never chalked on the pages of the other notebooks that we have. Anytime you're chalking on paper, I'm always going to recommend surface wax. Chalking on paper is great, and it's great for cards and things like that. But you're putting a sticky transfer down on paper, you're almost, guaranteed to get some pull there. And we are going to buff a little bit of that off. Use a little bit more. And I can feel that it's nice and smooth. So that's good. You can kind of feel the wax. It leaves a bit of a finish, so you can kind of feel that. which is nice because then you can tell maybe if you've missed a spot or anything like that. And we're just going to use the last 3. Well, I'm not going to use this, although you could put that in that inside cover, but we're going to use the last 3 of these little design elements here. And again, we're going to really fuzz this a lot. I usually only fuzz things like 5 or 6 times. But we're going to fuzz this a lot because, again, we're working with paper. I'm going to make sure that do everything we can so that we don't tear this. Okay, so I'm going to put this at a bit of an angle. Junk journaling is all about layering. Okay. And we're going to just use the black velvet for this. Is this open? Yes. Again, I'm trying to keep everything kind of neutral. You can bring in color through other elements, papers, stickers, tags, things like that. If we keep our background kind of neutral, it gives you lots of freedom. So one of the things that I will be doing if you're watching in my VIP group, I don't think I've mentioned this to you all yet, and I'll put a link to my VIP group in the YouTube description so that if you're curious and want to follow the project, you can. But I'm going to be deconstructing an old book. So once a month, I'm going to come on and we're going to start off with painting the cover and decorating the cover of the book, and just sort of repurposing it into a junk journal. I've just been curious about that. I saw an absolutely gorgeous one at the Junk Hunt in Nashville in October, and I've been thinking about it ever since. And so I want to do that. So we're going to be doing that. That's going to be a once a month project. Oh yeah, that worked really well. So that surface wax was definitely the right idea. See how easily that is coming out. That's awesome. Perfect. Okay. And now the tricky part about this is, drying paper with a drying tool is a little harder. Because it makes it bend and fold and all of that. So I'm not actually going to layer. I'm not going to lay anything on top of anything here because I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to dry this. And so we're just going to add some of these other elements just kind of in my white space. And then that leaves you plenty of room to be able to layer on top of this with stickers or tags, anything like that. And then we're going to use the ash again here. Careful. Hello, how are you? Sorry, Gold. Yes. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. How are you doing today? How is everybody doing today? Anybody who has joined here? How are you doing? How's your Friday going? A little bit. A bit of a lift on that 4. Now these numbers are a little bit distressed. So that might have actually been the way it was supposed to be. Yep, I think I knew it was supposed to be. But if you go nice and slow when you pull your transfer up, if you have an area where maybe you didn't put it down enough paste or ink is where I do that. Your transfer is lifting up a little bit, you can just lay your transfer back down real quick and add a little bit more, and that's much easier to do than trying to do it after it's dried. You can do it after it's dried. What I will often do after it's dried is instead of trying to put the transfer back down and get everything lined back up, I will take this, if I can get it out of here. Come on. It's hiding. I have this little tool with silicone tip there, and I'll dip that in my paste or ink and use that to kind of like dab paste it not where it should be, where I might have messed up. I'm going to use this one up in this corner, and then I have an idea. I'll show you all something that you can do with this. Again, this is sort of thinking about this as an entry point into some sort of art journal or junk journaling or something like that. Show you what that might look like. Those of you who already do that, you're probably 15 steps ahead of me in terms of how you might do this. But I consider myself kind of a newbie to that idea. I mean, I've been scrapbooking for years, so it is just a form of scrapbooking, but it's a different type of scrapbooking, and it uses, for me, uses a different part of my creative brain, which I like. And I encounter people a lot that are intrigued by it, but kind of don't know where to start, don't know how to think about it. And so even with, if you've seen any of my videos, my paper craft socials kits, you've seen me talk about how you can use other, junk journal elements in those. Okay, so there's that. Grab 1, 2 things. Remove this just up here a little bit so it can dry. And then I have these tags. And I do actually have some vintage ones. These came from the Big A. Yes. Yeah, Laura Lee, I've really been trying to do more of the mixed media with the stencils. I think it speaks to a different audience. And I do a lot of adding the stencils to my paper craft social journals after the fact, and not a great job of showing you all that while I'm like crafting with the kit itself. So I need to think about that more. Try to get a little more, maybe a little more done ahead of time, that sort of thing, so I can show other things that you can use. I don't want to. Pickwick papers thing needs to be. I don't know what I'm holding on to it for, but I'm holding on to it for something. I have. This came from an ephemera kit that I got. A chapter, the Pickwick Club from the Pickwick Papers, and I'm holding on to it. I don't know what for, but for something. I don't know what. We'll figure it out. So we've got some decoupage paper. And so this little envelope that I'm like sifting through here is just some ephemera scraps. Now I have a ton of various ephemera, but this is sitting on my shelf and easily accessible. So just grab that. All right, so we've got our tag. Now the tag has a hole in it and it has the twine already through it, but I don't want to limit myself in that spot. So if we want to put the twine back on it, we'll just punch another hole in it. I'll use my glue stick and just gonna tear a little bit of my paper. Decoupage paper there. A little more glue. Let's see. Use another little piece. This decoupage paper here. This is a little scrap of the Christmas paper. Take that off so that it's not covering my edge. Right? And then let's see, I think what I have handy. Well, we're not really trying to. This is just for effect, right? This is just for the idea. I got a little bit of glue still there. So I'm gonna stick that there. And then I'm gonna take my hole punch. And we're gonna redo the hole. Maybe. There. I got the neat one. Oh, Lordy. That's very cool. Yeah, I'm always on the hunt for, wow, that is not, there we go. Always on the hunt for antique books. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to trim this down a little bit. I don't want that piece of twine to be that long. Just put this back in here. Through, and then we have our page, right? And then we just take our tag on the back. Just drop it there like that. Now, if you wanted that prettier, because that's going to show at the top when you close the book, you could put a little ribbon in it, make it a little prettier. And then you've still got room to add some other things. You could use some typography. I have some really cool recycled decoupage paper that has really cool typography. So you could cut something out of there and put it there. You could, stickers, you could handwrite, a little printable of some sort. You've still got a lot you could do on this one page. And there's no theme here, right? Not operating from called Northwest Passages. It has old maps in it. Oh, wow. Yeah, so, Laura Lee, you could leave it intact, but turn it into your own junk journal, so that you leave that cover. And, maybe not every page, like if there's some of the maps that you think are really cool, you could leave those, and then, every so many pages, paint, add some design elements. So that's when I was talking about doing, like deconstructing a book in the VIP group, that's kind of one of the things that I'm going to do with that. So, yeah. Okay, so there's that, and then it's closed. And like I said, if you wanted something prettier sticking out of the top there, you could put ribbon through a tag or something like that. Okay, so that's everything. So we used almost every design that comes with that January Club kit, except for this and the little scissors, which you could add onto here, or you could add actually on top of your tag, or start onto another page. And it's nice because you know how sometimes you do things on book pages and then on the other side it feels weird, like you can feel the glue, you can it's bent or something like that, you have a hard time on the second side doing anything. But with this paper, this thicker paper in this notebook, it really doesn't feel like that. So it's still nice and strong, bends easily, but you could easily just write on this page, or add a transfer design or decoupage paper or tags or anything like that, and it would still feel really good. It doesn't make it really flimsy or anything. All right, so that is it, everybody. That is this Friday's project. Let me do this real quick. It's like I want to be. I know I can't see you all, but you can see me. So this is the January Club Couture. There is a link in the video description for Club Couture. If you join before the end of December, you'll still get December's kit, and then January will automatically be shipped to you. There is a link in the video description for my for this week's Freebie Friday, and for those of you watching in my VIP group, I'll drop that link here in a few minutes. But it's a printable of about 20 prompts for your 2026 vision board. So yes, it's time to start thinking about that. And so I put together a little prompt kit to kind of help you do that. Next Friday I did my vision board live last year, so I should do that this year. It took me a couple of different times. So be looking for that over the course of the next week. I can't believe it. I will also drop a link to my VIP group in the YouTube description if you're interested in watching, over the course of the year, watching us deconstruct a book together. And that's it. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. I'll be back next Friday with another video. Let me know what you think about this project. Let me know if you have any questions. If you have project ideas, please send them my way. I love a good craft challenge. So yeah, happy Friday, everybody. Happy December 26th. I will see you all next week. Bye.